Okay, so you want to own a Silk Road caravan. You picture the easy version first. A line of camels moving across a desert road, bales of silk, sacks of spices, blue glass beads, metalwork, dyed cloth, precious stones, a map with one side labeled cheap and the other side labeled expensive. You buy goods in one city, carry them across the world, and sell them where people will pay much more. The surface math feels almost too good. If silk is rare in the West, and jade, horses, glass, spices, dyes, paper, ceramics, and fine textiles can change value by distance, then the caravan looks like a moving profit machine. Every mile adds scarcity. Every border adds mystery. Every oasis brings you closer to a buyer who has never seen what you are carrying. So the fantasy is simple. Buy low, travel far, sell high. The longer the road, the richer the ending. That is the dream. Here is the problem. The Silk Road was not one road, and a caravan was not just a cart full of goods.
It was a moving balance sheet. Animals, handlers, guides, guards, water, fodder, route fees, local taxes, storage, currency exchange, language, trust, weather delays, spoiled cargo, broken packs, sick animals, bad information, and the constant need to stop before the next stretch became too long. The goods were the visible business. The hidden business was surviving distance. That is the core reversal. A Silk Road caravan was not really selling silk. It was selling risk management across geography, and geography charged every day. Start with the first trap in the name. The Silk Road was actually a network of routes across Eurasia, not a single highway from China to Rome. Merchants did not usually carry one parcel from one end of the world to the other like a modern delivery company. Goods moved in stages. They were bought, sold, repacked, taxed, stored, combined with other cargo, and handed through different markets.
One merchant might know one corridor extremely well and never see the other end of the network. Another might finance cargo but never personally cross the desert. A caravan leader might earn from transport, protection, logistics, and information without owning every luxury object on the animals. That matters because the profit was not simply in the final sale. The profit was in controlling a section of movement. If you controlled animals, route knowledge, trusted partners, and access to safe stopping points, you could earn even when you were not the man selling silk to the final buyer. You were not just a trader. You were a distance operator. Before the first journey begins, you need capital. Not romantic capital. Working capital. You need goods worth carrying. But high-value goods are expensive before they become profitable. If you load cheap, bulky goods onto animals, the road will eat your margin. If you load small, valuable goods, your cargo becomes more attractive, more delicate, and more dependent on trust. This is why the famous Silk Road cargo often sounds luxurious. Silk, gems, fine textiles, metalwork, paper, medicines, dyes, spices, ceramics, glass, and rare foods. The road favored value that could survive distance. A camel does not care that your cargo will impress a buyer in another city. It cares about weight. A merchant does not make money by moving the most beautiful goods. He makes money by moving value per animal. That is the first ledger rule. The animal is your warehouse, your engine, your moving rent payment, and your daily liability. So before the trip even begins, you need animals. Camels, horses, mules, or donkeys, depending on the route, climate, terrain, and cargo. In desert corridors, camels have an obvious advantage because they can endure dry stretches better than many other pack animals. In mountain passages, the calculation changes. In greener corridors, horses and mules may make more sense. But every animal is both an asset and a cost. It must be bought or hired. It must be fed. It must be watered. It must be loaded correctly. It must be rested. It can get sick. It can slow the entire group. It can lose weight. It can die on the wrong side of nowhere. And if one animal fails, the problem is not only the animal. It is the cargo that animal carried. It is the schedule. It is the labor needed to redistribute loads. It is the bargaining power you lose at the next stop because everyone can see your caravan is strained. Now add people. A caravan is not a lonely genius with a map. You need handlers who understand animals. You need guides who understand wells, passes, oases, roads, seasons, and local rules. You need translators or partners who can bargain in the markets ahead.
You need men who know how to repair harnesses, repack loads, judge distance, manage camp, and keep the group organized when the road becomes boring, hot, cold, slow, or confusing. Labor is not decorative. Labor is what keeps the cargo from becoming abandoned inventory. And the larger the caravan, the more complex the operation becomes. A small caravan is flexible but exposed. A large caravan is safer and more visible, but slower and more expensive. This is one of the central trade-offs. Travel alone, and one bad stop can ruin you. Travel with many others, and the group has more bargaining power, more eyes, more animals, more knowledge, and more ability to absorb problems. But the larger group needs more food, more water, more coordination, more space at caravanserais, and more time to get moving each morning. Safety and efficiency are not the same thing. The caravan owner has to choose which one he can afford. Then comes the route. Modern viewers imagine a route as a line on a map.
For a caravan, a route is a chain of payments. At each stage, someone controls something you need: a pass, a bridge, a city gate, a market, a water source, a pasture, a storage yard, a caravanserai, a document, a scale, a tax office, or simply local knowledge. The UNESCO description of the Silk Roads emphasizes that merchants had many possible routes and often stopped, rested, replenished supplies, traded locally, or sold cargo onward along the way. That is the key economic detail. The caravan does not move through empty space. It moves through other people's systems. And every system asks for a share. A toll here, a market fee there, a payment for storage, a fee for animals, a charge at the gate, a cut for the broker, a cost for exchanging one currency or weight system into another. Customary gifts to make the next negotiation smoother. By the time the caravan reaches the next major city, the profit is already smaller than the fantasy. The surface math says distance adds value. The ledger says distance adds invoices. This is why the caravanserai matters. A caravanserai was not just an inn with an exotic name. It was one of the pieces that made long-distance trade possible. Along well-served routes, these stopping places could appear roughly a day's journey apart, often around 30 to 40 kilometers in regions with strong infrastructure. They gave merchants a place to rest, eat, water animals, protect cargo, meet other travelers, exchange news, and prepare for the next stage. From the outside, it looks like shelter. From the ledger, it is a logistics node, and nodes are where money gathers. The owner of a caravanserai, the authority that sponsored it, the market that grew beside it, the animal suppliers, the food sellers, the brokers, the money changers, and the local officials all benefit from the caravan before the caravan owner knows whether his own trade will pay. That is a very old pattern. The person moving the goods takes the journey risk.
The person controlling the stop charges everyone who passes. If you own the caravan, you may dream about the buyer at the end. But the road has many small landlords before that buyer. Now imagine the caravan leaving a wealthy trading city. The animals are loaded, goods are wrapped carefully, accounts are recorded. Partners agree who owns which cargo and who receives which share. Some goods belong to the caravan owner, some may belong to investors, some may belong to merchants who pay for transport, some may be commission goods, some are there because a trusted partner at the next city requested them. The first day feels controlled, the second day feels expensive. Fodder is consumed, water is consumed, people eat, animals need rest, loads shift, a strap breaks, a sack must be repacked. The guide wants to adjust the route because a pass is late with snow, a well is unreliable, or a local official has changed the terms at a gate. Nothing dramatic has happened. The caravan is simply operating, and operating burns margin. This is the hidden cost most people underestimate. A long-distance caravan loses money while succeeding. Every normal day of progress consumes resources. Every delay consumes them without progress. Every shortcut may reduce time but increase risk. Every safe stop costs money but prevents larger loss. The owner is not trying to avoid all cost. He is trying to buy the right costs. Pay for the guide or pay later in confusion. Pay for a reliable stop or pay later in damaged cargo. Pay for animal care or pay later in lost capacity. Pay for information or pay later by carrying the wrong goods to the wrong market. That last one may be the most important. Information was cargo. A merchant needed to know which goods were scarce, which cities were crowded with the same merchandise, which ruler had changed a tax, which road was difficult this season, which market preferred one textile over another, which broker could be trusted, and which coinage would be accepted without punishment in the exchange rate. The Silk Roads moved goods, but they also moved knowledge. UNESCO describes merchants as facilitators not only of long-distance trade, but of exchange in ideas, languages, religions, and culture. Economically, that means they were information carriers. A merchant who knew prices, customs, languages, and trusted contacts had an advantage that a richer but ignorant trader could not simply buy at the last minute. The caravan owner is therefore running two businesses. One business moves cargo, the other moves knowledge, and the second business often decides whether the first one works. Consider the revenue stack. The obvious revenue is resale margin.
Buy goods in one market and sell them in another where they are rarer or more desired. But that is only one layer. A caravan can earn freight fees by carrying goods for other merchants. It can earn commissions by selling on behalf of investors. It can profit from carrying mixed cargo so one bad market does not ruin the whole trip. It can use return cargo because an empty return journey is a moving expense with no payload. That return journey is one of the easiest ways for the fantasy to break. A beginner imagines the trip as one heroic line from origin to destination. The experienced caravan owner sees a loop. If the animals arrive in a rich market, sell the goods, and then walk back carrying almost nothing, the ledger does not celebrate. The animals still eat. The handlers still travel. The stops still cost money. The route still demands payments. The same distance that created profit on the outward trip becomes a silent expense on the way back. So the smartest trade is not simply what you can sell when you arrive. It is what you can carry after you sell. That might mean buying local products, taking freight for another merchant, carrying letters and documents, transporting specialty goods to a smaller market, or planning a route that connects several profitable stops instead of one dramatic destination. The caravan that returns empty is not finished. It is leaking. This is why long-distance trade rewards networks more than one-time courage. You need people who can tell you what the return market wants before you reach it. You need partners who can arrange cargo while you are still arriving. You need buyers who become sellers, sellers who become contacts, and contacts who become the reason the next trip starts with better information than the last. The first trip may be a guess about geography. The second trip should be a system. It can profit from market timing, buying after harvest or production peaks and selling when supply tightens. It can profit from information, knowing that a city has too much of one good and not enough of another. It can profit from trust, because merchants will pay to move cargo with a caravan leader known to arrive, settle accounts, and not disappear into excuses. That is why the best caravan business is not the one with the most romantic cargo. It is the one with the best network. Trustworthy partners at both ends, biological stops in the middle, enough animals to move value efficiently, enough diversification to survive one bad sale, enough reputation that people choose your caravan over a cheaper one. The road rewards the merchant who can repeat the journey. One lucky trip can make a story. Repeated trips make a business. Now look at why it could work. The Silk Roads linked regions with different products, technologies, tastes, and shortages. China was famous for silk. Central Asian cities could act as hubs between settled and nomadic worlds. Persian, Indian, Arab, Byzantine, and later many other markets wanted goods that were rare, beautiful, useful, portable, or prestigious. UNESCO notes that the network carried much more than silk. Textiles, spices, cereals, fruits, animal skins, tools, wood, metal objects, religious items, works of art, precious stones, and more. That variety is important. It means the caravan did not depend on one magic product. If you had the right contacts, you could adapt. You might carry textiles one way, metalwork another, horses across one corridor, paper or dyes along another, glassware toward a market that valued it, or local products picked up at intermediate towns. The road was not a pipeline. It was a marketplace stretched across geography. And that is why the caravan could be powerful. It connected price differences. Where geography separated supply and demand, the caravan captured part of the gap.
But that same gap created the trap. The farther the price difference, the more costs stand between you and the sale. A local trader can turn inventory quickly. He knows the customer. He sleeps near his shop. His goods do not spend months exposed to terrain, climate, and negotiation. The caravan trader has the larger upside, but his money is trapped in motion. While the caravan travels, the capital is locked. You cannot sell the cargo tomorrow if you are still between cities. You cannot easily change the cargo if the market turns. You cannot pay back an investor with a beautiful theory about future prices. You need arrival, and arrival is never free. Now add finance. Most people imagine the caravan owner as someone wealthy enough to own everything on the animals. Sometimes, yes, but long-distance trade naturally invites shared risk. Investors, partners, family networks, merchant houses, and credit relationships can all sit behind the cargo. The load may represent many people's money.
That helps the caravan get larger. It also means the profit is already divided. The investor wants a return, the partner wants his share. The lender wants repayment. The transport crew wants compensation. The local broker wants a fee. The route authority wants its cut. The animal owner wants payment if the animals are hired. By the time the cargo sells, the caravan owner may discover that he did not own the profit. He only managed it. That is the old ledger at work. The man standing beside the camels looks like the hero of the trade, but many people have claims on the value before the market opens. Now imagine the market at the destination. The caravan arrives dusty, tired, and optimistic. The goods are unloaded. Brokers inspect them. Buyers ask questions. Weights are checked. Quality is argued over. Some goods have traveled well. Some have been damaged. Some are exactly what the market wants. Some arrive too late, after another caravan has already supplied the demand.
The owner learns the real price only when he no longer controls the journey. That is the cruel part. Before departure, the expected profit is a story. At arrival, the market edits the story. If the market is hungry for your goods, the journey looks brilliant. If the market is full, the same journey looks foolish. Same route, same animals, same work. Different timing, different ledger. This is why diversification matters. A caravan carrying only one type of cargo is making a very confident prediction about a future market. A caravan with mixed goods has more ways to recover. Some cargo may underperform, some may sell quickly, some may be traded onward, some may be exchanged locally, and some may become return value. The best caravan owner is not the man who believes hardest in one product. He is the man who understands optionality. And optionality has its own cost. More types of goods mean more records. More records mean more disputes. More disputes mean more need for trust. More partners mean more negotiation. More cargo owners mean more claims at the end. The caravan becomes a legal and social machine as much as a transport machine. You are carrying goods, yes, but you are also carrying promises. Promises to investors. Promises to merchants, promises to handlers, promises to partners in the next city, promises to the men who allowed you through the last gate. The road is full of promises, and every promise can become a cost. Now compare two caravan owners. The first owner thinks like the fantasy. He buys expensive goods because expensive goods sound profitable. He hires animals late. He chooses a route from stories. He saves money on guides. He joins the wrong group because it leaves sooner. He carries too much of one cargo. He assumes the destination market will reward distance automatically. The journey begins with confidence. Then the slow costs appear. The animals are overloaded. The crew argues. The stops are more expensive than expected.
One city gate takes longer than planned. A broker demands a fee the owner did not budget for. The market he wanted is already supplied. He sells at a weaker price because he needs cash to pay everyone waiting behind him. He did not lose because trade is impossible. He lost because he mistook distance for profit. The second owner thinks like a logistics operator. He buys cargo because he knows who might buy it. He travels with partners who know the corridor. He spreads risk across several goods. He pays for guides who understand seasons and stops. He keeps accounts carefully. He makes sure the return journey has a plan. He builds relationships with caravanserai owners, brokers, animal suppliers, and local authorities. He accepts that many costs are not mistakes. They are the price of keeping the journey alive. The first owner buys goods. The second owner buys survivability. That is the difference. The Silk Road caravan can make a man rich, but not because the map is long.
It makes money when the owner controls the small frictions that destroy everyone else. Now ask who really gets paid. The animal sellers get paid before the caravan moves. The handlers and guides get paid before the final sale proves anything. The caravanserai owners get paid because every moving business needs stopping places. The food and fodder suppliers get paid because people and animals cannot eat future profit. The gatekeepers, toll collectors, and local authorities get paid because routes pass through controlled space. The brokers get paid because strangers need market access. The money changers get paid because value has to be translated. The investors get paid if the caravan used their capital. The city markets get paid because they concentrate buyers. And the caravan owner gets what remains after distance has taken its share. This is why the Silk Road is so easy to romanticize and so hard to run. We remember the silk. The ledger remembers the fodder. We remember the spices. The ledger remembers the water. We remember the map. The ledger remembers every stop on it. The caravan was not a treasure chest on legs. It was a fragile chain of animals, people, goods, trust, payments, and timing, moving through landscapes that did not care about your margin. So could owning a Silk Road caravan work? Yes. If you knew the route. If you had partners at both ends. If your cargo was valuable enough per animal. If your animals were strong enough for the terrain. If your guides knew the water and the season. If your stops were reliable. If your records were clear. If your investors were patient. If your return journey was not empty. If your reputation made other merchants trust you with their goods. But if you entered with only the simple dream, buy low, travel far, sell high, the road would teach you the missing line. Travel is not free value.
Travel is a cost that sometimes creates value. That is the final line in the ledger. The customer at the destination bought silk, spices, glass, cloth, or stones. The caravan owner bought distance. And distance was never a single price. It was animals, water, fodder, guides, stops, tolls, fees, trust, timing, and the patience to arrive before the profit disappeared.